Okay, so let's start with our prayers, okay, with beautiful kids. Okay, everybody ready? Prayers are here, okay? Let's start. Everybody fold their hands and try to read, okay? Om Agyan Timiranthasya Jnananjanashalakaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Chaitanyamanoveştam Tapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mayyam Dadati Swapadam Vandeham Shri Guru Tirthapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavancha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Krishnanamosate Devi
Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Everybody, Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. One last time, everybody unmute. Raise your hands up in the sky. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Gurudev ki jai.
Vishnu Padaya Krishna.
Okay, so there we are. All right, so Bhavya, you can mute everybody. And we are starting a beautiful new chapter today. Okay, so let me bring the.
What?
Stop.
Okay, let's everybody be muted now. Bhavya, you are the co-host, beta. Okay. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Yes, Mataji.
Very good. So today,
Yes,
what is the name of the
Mataji.
chapter?
Mataji.
Can everybody say the name of the
Yes,
chapter?
Mataji.
Karma
Yes,
Yoga.
Mataji.
Karma Yoga.
Yes, Mataji. Karma Yoga. Krishna. Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga.
Karma Yoga. Action in Krishna consciousness.
Yes.
Very, very beautiful chapter, but it's a short chapter. So today our class might finish early. So let's see. So in this chapter, now you see this chapter is actually a continuation of previous chapter. Because what was the name of the previous chapter? Do you all remember? Can everybody type the name of the chapter? Can everybody type the name of the chapter 3 and chapter 4 in chat box? I want to see.
Transcendental knowledge.
Yes, very good. Chapter 4 is transcendental knowledge. And chapter 3 name was Karma Yoga. So we are continuing the same concept, Karma Yoga, then transcendental knowledge, and then Karma Yoga, action in Krishna consciousness. So in chapter 3, we learned, right? Do you all remember I gave you an example that okay, 1 second. So chapter 3, we learned that Arjuna is saying, I don't want to fight, right? Why? Because he's thinking, I'll get the reaction, I will get the sin, so I should not fight. Do you all remember the example I gave you all? A little girl, she don't want to cut the vegetables, right? Right? Why? Because what is she scared of? What is she scared of? Who will tell me? Who attended the class? Yes, Srihari. What is she scared of? Spurti, raise the hand. Srihari, raise the hand. Okay, can everybody write in the chat box? Is chat box unlocked? We can open the chat box just for a minute or two.
Sure,
And then we can again close the chat box. Okay. I see the message is coming. Kids are writing. The girl was not cutting the vegetables because she was scared of hurting herself. Pavan is writing transcendental knowledge. Yes. Sai Shrikar is writing she was scared to cut her fingers. Everybody is writing because she was scared that she can hurt her fingers. Yes. So I see everything in the chat box. Yes, everybody is writing. Yes. So does that mean, okay, we can close the chat box now. So does that mean that we should not cut the vegetables? No, rather we should cut in such a way that we don't get reaction. That means we don't cut our fingers, right? That's what we learned. So from there on, Krishna is continuing that yes, work, but work for who? Don't work for yourself. Work for God. Right? Be free from bondage, because if you work for Krishna, then what will happen? You will not get the reaction of the work. So work for Krishna. So first section, that's what we're going to discuss. Second section, knowledge of three doers. Third section deals with equal vision. And the last section deals with the peace formula. How do we attain the peace in our life? So let's discuss one by one. So before we start, do you all remember the last shloka yesterday we discussed? Yesterday, the last shloka of chapter 3 was Shraddhavan Labhate. That means we have to have faith in Krishna. If I open that verse, chapter 4. Okay, give me 1 second. So chapter 4, last verse said, not last verse, one of the verse, very important verse, yes, is 39. A faithful man, right? We discussed that one has to have a faith in the Lord, faith in the Krishna. So how many, we will discuss a story based on that faith. How many of you want to hear the story? Raise your hands. Raise your hands. A beautiful story you all want to hear? Yes? Okay. So there was a king. He did not have a son. Okay. Now he was praying to the Lord to give him a son. He was begging every day, I need a son. I need a son. I want a son. Okay. But he was not getting a son. So finally, you know, when people sometimes don't get a solution for their problems, sometimes they go to the wrong directions. He went to a tantric. He went to a boy who was doing not a boy, I mean a man who does black magic, right? Everybody knows they use some wrong mantras and they do some negative things, you know. They are not suggested by our scriptures. So he went to him. Now, that tantric, the black magic guy, he told him, you have to sacrifice a child in order to get a son. Now, does it make sense? You have to sacrifice a child, means you have to kill a child, offer it to some demigod, then you will get a child. Give me a thumbs up, those who agree with his idea, and give me a thumbs up, those who do not agree with this idea. Is it okay to kill others to satisfy our own desire? No, everybody's showing me thumbs down. You all are amazing. You all are such a wonderful devotee of the Lord. So this king, because he was a desperate, he knew is wrong. Okay, king does not agree with it, but he was so desperate. He badly wanted a son. So he said, okay. So he announces in the whole kingdom, that if anybody wants to sacrifice their child, please come to me. And if you sacrifice your child, you will get a prince in this kingdom. So somebody sacrificed their child. Now, for days and days, nobody came forward, right? Everybody loves their children. Nobody want to sacrifice their child. So nobody came forward. But there was a family. They had many children and they were very poor. The youngest child, actually, he was a devotee of the Lord Krishna. He was a devotee. So he did not used to do much household chores. He did not do much things because his mind was focused on God. He was mostly busy in bhajans. Doing bhajans, worshipping Krishna is amazing. Okay. It's not something that we take it cheaply, right? If any of you sit and sing bhajans on harmonium, I'm sure you will see your parents encourage you. It's not a waste of time. You attending Bhagavad Gita classes right now, it's not that you are free and you have nothing to do and that's why attending. No, you all have taken out your precious time from play date and from doing different things and attending this class. So this is very important. But that boy's parents had no value to his devotional service. So they went to the king. They said, oh, our youngest child, no, he's useless. He just do bhajans. He just worship Krishna. Just take him. You can sacrifice him. Parents are right or wrong? Parents are right or wrong? Parents are wrong here, right? Because they did not know the value. So this boy now, okay, the boy is in front of the king and the king asked the boy, do you have any last wish we would like to fulfill? So boy says, yes, I need the 4 pile of sand. When you all go to the beach, what do you all do? Do you all make the sand house, right? Like a sand castle? Girls make it usually. So here there was a table kept in front of the boy and there was 4 heap of the sand. That's what boy requested. Now king was watching. King was thinking, what does this boy want? I don't understand. Then boy, what did he do? He punched the first heap of sand. And king saw. Then the boy went to second heap of sand. Then he punched that one also, he broke it. Then he went to third one, he punched and he broke the sand castle. And then when he went to fourth, he became very emotional. He was just sitting and thinking. And he took long time. So king went to the boy and king asked, okay, what is going on here? You broke 3 sand castles, now 4th. What are you thinking? Do you mind explaining me what is all this going on? So the boy says, the first castle of sand represents my parents. I trusted my parents, but my parents, they cannot even protect my life. And they have brought me here for sacrifice. So I'm breaking my relationship with them. That's why I broke this castle. Then king said, okay, what about second? So he said, the second castle represents my relatives, because none of my relatives came and corrected my parents not to do this, not to give me for sacrifice and see me being killed. So I break all my relationships with my relatives. Then king says, okay, what is this third one? Then the boy says, the third one is you, because you are the king. King is supposed to protect the citizens. King is not supposed to kill the citizens. So since you are also not protecting me, I break all my relationship with you also. Now king became very scared. In his mind, he was thinking, oh, wow, look at this boy's intelligence. He was a little child, but he was a devotee of the Lord. Then this king asked that, what is this 4th one you are thinking so much? And the boy says, this sand castle, this heap of sand is actually God. That's all he said. And the king thought in his mind that this little boy is so intelligent. He knows all the scriptures. He's the devotee of the Lord. And how foolish I am that I want to kill this innocent child. And not only child, he's a devotee of the Lord. And I'm killing him who has so much faith in the God. He has not broken his relationship with the God. And I'm killing this boy in order to get a son. How about I do not want a son and I will adopt this child? And that's what the king did. King adopted that child as his son. And the boy had faith. See, why did the boy did not broke that sand castle? Because he had a deep connection with God. He had so much faith in God. Right? Do you all know the story of Narsinghdev and Prahlad? Right? When Prahlad was tortured so much by Hiranyakashipu, Narsinghdev came from the pillar. Have you all ever heard? The pillar is the mother of the Narsinghdev. I would not say mother, but we can say Narsinghdev is born from the pillar. But that was the faith of Prahlad. Prahlad said, yes, my Lord is here inside the pillar. And to prove his words, Lord Narsinghdev takes a special form of half man and half lion, and he comes out from the pillar. That is called as faith. Avashya Rakhi Be Krishna. Avashya Rakhi Be Krishna means Krishna will always protect. Krishna will always take care of him. So this is what called as faith. And that's what we discussed the chapter 4, verse 39. You see, the boy had faith in the God. And see, he did not die. He was not sacrificed. Rather, he became the prince. Right? So you all should also learn this lesson from this story, that we should always have faith in Krishna. We should always chant his holy names. Every morning when you all wake up, right? Don't straight get down from the bed. What you should do, at least 8 times, you should say Mahamantra. What is Mahamantra? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Then, before you sleep, before you close your eyes, fold your hands and say, thank you, Krishna. Thank you for a beautiful day. Thank you for a beautiful parents. Thank you for nice teachers. Thank you for good friends. And thank you for being with me. And then again, chant 8 times. What will you chant? Can everybody unmute? Can everybody be unmuted and chant and then sleep? Can we do that activity from today?
Yes,
Hare Krishna.
Yes, give me Okay, everybody can be muted now. Everybody can be muted. Thank you so much for chanting so beautifully. One day we can have some nice singing class where everybody can sing the names of God, right? Isn't it amazing? I saw all of your activities yesterday. I posted an activity. I think it was, what was the activity? Yeah, finding the names of God, and you all did so amazing. I saw few kids. I want to see everybody's work in the WhatsApp. Can everybody give me a high five without breaking their laptop screens that they're going to send all the activities? Perfect. Wonderful. I want to see everybody's work. Okay. Nobody be lazy. It's vacation. Everybody can send their work. Okay. So we'll continue here. So what is Krishna telling Arjuna? Work for God. Be free from bondage. If you work for me, you will not incur any sin. You will not incur any reaction. I'll take care of everything. Okay, so we'll recite this verse. Everybody can be unmuted again and repeat after me. Okay, I'll say 1, 2, 3. Then you say 1, 2, 3. Yoga Very good. Very good, all of you. Okay, everybody can be muted. So what is this verse saying? Okay, mute everybody. What does this verse mean? One who works in devotion. You see, yoga yukto. The one who works in devotion, Who is a pure soul? Vishuddhatma means pure soul. Vijitatma means the one who has controlled his mind. Jitendriya means the one who has controlled his senses. How is that person? Let's see. Sarva Bhutatma, Bhutatma. Here, Bhutatma does not mean Bhoot and ghost. Okay. Bhutatma means all living beings. Okay. Sarva Bhutani, Bhutatma, all that means living entities. Sarva Bhuta. Sarva Bhutatma means dear to everyone. Bhutatma means every, 1 minute. Everyone is dear to him. And Kurvan apina lipyate means although working, he is not entangled. What does that mean? It means the one who works in devotion, the one who is a pure soul, one who controls his mind and senses, he is dear to everyone. And everyone is dear to him. Even though he is working, but he's not entangled, means he don't get reactions for the work because he is working for Krishna and he's dear to everyone. Okay, he knows very well that when water is poured on the root of a tree, the water is distributed to all the leaves and branches. Or when food is supplied to stomach, the energy is automatically distributed throughout the body. Similarly, when we work for Krishna, when we worship Krishna, everybody else is satisfied. Even the demigods is satisfied. So who do we have to work for? Krishna. When you all are students, you see, when you all are studying, what should you think? Oh, I will study a lot. I'll become big IT. Then I'll make a lot of money. Then I'll buy a Lamborghini. Then I'll buy a big house. Then I'll go vacation. No, we should not have this mentality. What we should think, I am studying for Krishna. I have to become intelligent for Krishna. Because whatever I become, if I become a doctor, I will serve the devotees of the Lord. If I become an IT, I will work for Krishna. I will offer the results of this work to Krishna. If I become an engineer, I will help people make temples of Krishna. This is our consciousness should be, right? If I buy a car, I will use it in service of Krishna. So when you study, what should you think? You should think, I'm studying for Krishna. I'm not studying for myself. Okay. When you do any work, even if you're serving your parents, suppose your mommy does all the groceries, come home and you fill up a glass of water and you give it to your mommy. What should you think? You should think, oh, this mother is a gift of Krishna to me in my life. I must serve her. Right? So you're giving a glass of water to your mommy anyhow, right? But then what should you think? I'm doing this for Krishna. I'm doing it as a service to Krishna. Isn't that amazing? Anything you do in your life, you should always think I'm doing it for Krishna. All the results are also offered to Krishna. Okay? And this kind of person who has mind control, who has sense control, he's dear to everyone and everyone is dear to him. Now here we come. Work for Krishna. So how? Let's discuss this verse. Okay? Give me 1 second. Okay, everybody can be unmuted so that we can recite this verse. Okay? Brahmanyadhaya yaktva karoti yaha lipyatena sapapena padma patram imambasa. Very good, very good. So everybody can be muted. Let's discuss what does this mean. Brahmanyadhaya karmani sangam tyaktva karoti yaha lipyatena sapapena padma patram evambasa. Okay, do you all see this beautiful leaf? This is actually a leaf. Okay, let's understand what does this mean. Give me 1 second. Okay, so This is verse 10. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is unaffected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. Now, this is the lotus leaf. Do you all see the water droplets here? Water droplet is not mixing with lotus leaf. It's just on the lotus leaf, but it's like not even touching the lotus leaf. What does this mean? Now, you all see here, this verse means work for Krishna, but be detached from the results, from the fruits of the work. Don't be attached. How? Just like lotus leaf is unattached by the water. What does that mean? See, like lotus leaf, even though it remains in the water, is not wet. That's why you can see the droplets of water on top of the lotus leaf. The Lord also says in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 30, resign all work unto me. A person without Krishna consciousness acts according to material body and senses. But a person in Krishna consciousness acts according to the knowledge that the body is the property of Krishna. My body also belongs to Krishna. And therefore, my body should be engaged in the service of Krishna. Right? Do you all see my tilak? I'm sure you all are able to see me. Every day you see me how I have a beautiful tilak on my face, right? You know why we put tilak? Tilak means the lotus feet of Krishna. Do you all see this U part? Everybody sees this U. This U is actually ankle of Krishna. And this tulasi, the leaf on my nose, is actually tulasi leaf. If you go to any ISKCON temple in any world, you will always see, any part of the world, you will always see there is a beautiful tulasi leaf on the feet of Krishna. Because Krishna loves Tulasi Devi, and Tulasi Devi gives us the bhakti. So Tulasi is very dearmost devotee of Krishna. And when we offer food to Krishna, and if we put a Tulasi leaf, Krishna loves to accept that food, whichever food comes with Tulasi. Of course, with restrictions, fruit, grains, milk, yogurt, like that, right? No animal products. So here, what is Krishna telling Arjuna? Work for Krishna, but be aloof from the results. Don't get attached to the results of the work. Now, if you look at the next slide, what does it describe? It describes be in the world, not of this world. Now, do you see here lotus leaf is in the water, right? But do you think lotus leaf is wet? No. Like you all go to school, right? If you all remember Krishna in school, the bad association will not affect you. The boys or girls who bully you or who are very bad, who tells you to do wrong things in the school, they will not affect you. You will always be good kids. Did you know that? Just always remember Krishna. Before you put your foot in the bus, chant the holy name and then go to school. In the school also, when you feel, oh, I don't feel something good, today is a lot of negativity, just chant the holy name in your mind because you're remembering Krishna. I'll give you one little example here. Do you all go by flight? I'm sure everybody has gone in the flights, right? Now you all are assigned the seat numbers, right? Okay, S31 or B32 or C68, right? You go in the flight for 4 hours, or if you go to India, you go for 18 hours, right? Then you make everything comfortable there, right? You take your neck pillow, you take your backpack with your toys, with your activities, with your different things, right? For 18 hours, you take your so many things, right? But eventually, after 18 hours of the flight or 10 hours of flight, you have to drop everything, right? You have to get down from the flight, isn't it? Can you carry the flight with you, or can you carry that seat with you, or anything you like in the flight, can you carry with you? No, right? So they are temporary. Similarly, in this material world, be in the world. Use everything in service of Krishna, but don't become belonging to this world or not of this world. Become aloof. Work for Krishna. Don't run after satisfying only your senses, right? Everything use in the service of Krishna. If you go to grocery place with your mommy, you see beautiful mangoes. Like when I go to Patel, I see everybody buying mangoes, a mango case, right? Right? Don't we go to mommy and say, mommy, I want to eat mango. Please take mango. We'll make mango ice cream, or we will make mango shake, or we will drink mango juice, right? So who are you buying mango for? Can everybody be unmuted for a minute? Who are you buying all the mangoes for?
Krishna.
Are you buying mangoes for Krishna or for yourself?
Krishna.
You all are buying mango for yourself. But from next time when you go, okay. Yes, buy for Krishna. Very good. Everybody. Yes, so now onwards, whenever you all go to buy with your mommy to buy mangoes, just think Krishna, oh, my Lord will eat. First, my Lord will eat mangoes, then I will eat his prasad. First, I'll wash a mango, I'll cut a mango, I will put a beautiful, like nice tulsi leaf, I'll offer it into a plate, request the Lord to accept the bhoga, and after 5-10 minutes, I'll bring that back. And then I will honor the prasad. Then you did not eat mango for yourself. You did not buy even mango for yourself. Who did you buy mango for? Krishna. Right? Then you don't get the reaction also. That's what Krishna is telling Arjuna. That fight for me. This war, the Kurukshetra war, you fight for me. Don't fight for yourself. Because I want to wipe off all these miscreants, the demon mentality people from this, in the war of Kurukshetra, Mahabharata. So fight for me, you'll not get reaction. So be in the world, not of this world. Yes, so now you can see this example. I gave you an example of flight, but I'm sure in India, you all have traveled by train, right? Everybody, sometimes you guys sleep in the train overnight, and then next morning you have to collect all your baggages and leave. So see, this is not our home. Train, even though we were in the train for one whole night or 2 days, or in the flight we were there for 18 hours. But does flight belong to us? Does train belong to us? No. Similarly, this house, this car, this toys which you fight with your brother or sister with, for every little toys, nothing belong to us. This is not our home. There is nothing we can take with us back. So then where's our home? Oh, that's a question. Train is not home. Our home is not home, right? Then what is our home? Of course, temporary, wherever we are living, that is our home. Yes, but that house also belongs to Krishna, right? We get that house because of mercy of the God. So where is our home? Our home is spiritual world. Spiritual world is Golok Vrindavan, where there is no birth, there is no disease, there is no old age, there is no death. People don't even die there. Isn't that amazing? Have you all ever heard that? Right? Nobody takes birth there because we all are souls. We read in chapter 2. We all are eternal. Right? Nobody dies also. Have you all seen your grandparents? They have become old now. Right? After 10-15 years, when you all grow up and become 18-19 year old, 20-year-old, your parents will also become old, right? Then one day you all also will become old, right? Will you stay the same height, same size? No. But in spiritual world, nobody becomes old. Everybody remains young. And look at all these beautiful gopas. You know what they do all day long? They don't have a job like you, that they have to do homework, they have to study, they have to go to school, they have to attend classes. No, all day long, they go with Krishna Balram. They play a lot of games in the forest. And they take beautiful Gaya, beautiful cows. They take them for grazing. They play with the cows. They have a picnic every single day. How often do you all get to go for a picnic? Maybe once a year or twice a year, right? In summer, isn't it? And do you all enjoy the picnic? Yeah, give me thumbs up. Those of you who love picnic. Yes, I also love picnic. You know that? I love picnics. And I love to play water balloons with my kids. Yeah, it's fun. Imagine if you get to play every single day, no studies, you don't ever get sick. And you know, in spiritual world, there are special trees. You know what is the name of those trees? Anybody knows? No? Nobody knows? The name of the tree is Kalpa Vrakshu tree. Wish fulfilling tree. You know what is wish fulfilling tree? If you stand under the tree and if you ask the tree, I want a mango, he will give you mango. Then if you ask the tree, I want a Lego, the tree will give you Lego. Then you ask the tree, I want chocolate, he'll give you chocolate. If you say, I want a cupcake, the tree will give you cupcake. There are not one or two, thousands of such wish fulfilling trees. But nobody desires anything for themselves in spiritual world. Everybody desires only for Krishna. Isn't that amazing? See, Krishna is with Balram. So that spiritual world is our eternal home. That's where we are coming from, and that's where we go back when we when we develop bhakti for Krishna. So this section finishes here. We are going to the second section of the chapter, knowledge of three doers. Okay, so let's see here. We will discuss this more in detail in chapter 17, not here. And we will discuss this picture also more there. But we will discuss a little bit here because you all have to understand. It's a very technical topic, but let's try to understand. Okay, so now we know we are the soul, right? Everybody knows we are the soul. Now suppose, okay, it's not suppose, actually I am the soul. Okay, so can everybody open their chat box and write their favorite food I want you all to write favorite ice cream flavor in the chat box. Can everybody do that? Very fast, okay? Okay, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. Okay, you can also write your favorite food. Okay, but vegetarian food only, no non-veg. Can everybody write very fast? I see the chat boxes. Okay, I see roti sabzi, chocolate, paneer. Okay, vanilla flavor, pizza, chapati. Oh, that many messages. Look at that. Dosa, vanilla, paneer. I love paneer too. My little one loves paneer. Pizza, chapati. Looks like everybody likes paneer and pizza most. Do you all know how to combine the paneer and pizza? Have you ever tried that pizza? Everybody can be unmuted for a minute. Manchurian, chole bhature, very nice. I'm getting hungry. Kofta, naan. Okay, we will close the chat box now. Otherwise, Okay, everybody can be muted now. Wonderful. Okay, so here now let's take an example that Pavan Krishna. Okay, Pavan Krishna, he is a soul. Today he desires to eat pizza. Okay, now let's see what happens here. He has a desire, but it has to be sanctioned by super soul. His desire cannot be fulfilled without the sanctioning of super soul. Super soul means Krishna in our heart. Okay, even after sanctioning, what happens? Material nature, which is Prakriti, it has to provide, it has to facilitate. Now, what does that mean? Let's take an example. Let's take an example. For pizza, you need what? You need the flour, you need water, you need to ferment it, you need vegetables, you need cheese, right? All this will come from where? From the material nature, right? Can you make your own cheese? Can you make your own flour? No, you have to go buy it, right? So we have to buy the flour. Flour comes from where? Grains, right? Grains come from where? Earth, right? So material nature has to provide you the ingredients to make the pizza, right? If material nature does not facilitate, how will the soul's desire will be fulfilled? Is it possible? No. Pavan Krishna, Can you make the pizza? If you don't have all these ingredients, now you have a desire, okay? But you don't have the ingredients. Can you make it?
No.
No, right? But even after you have ingredients, even after that, the super soul has to sanction. Then only you can make pizza. Now let's assume you have ingredients, you have desire, you have everything, but you are not allowed to operate the oven because maybe you're too young. Your parents don't allow you, right? If parents are not there, can you make pizza? No. So it has to be sanctioned from the super soul. And our original parents are Krishna. So these are the three doers. What is the three doers? Jiva, super soul, and material nature. Because whatever we desire, the material nature has to facilitate, and the super soul has to sanction. Like suppose a potter, okay, the one who makes the clay pots. If he wants to make a pot, right, like a water pot or any clay pot, if we don't have the mud, can he make it? No, the mud has to be provided by earth. And of course, he needs a sanctioning from super soul. Then only he can do it. So these are the three doers, right? When we say, oh, I made this, I created. No, we cannot make anything. We cannot do anything until the material nature facilitate and the super soul sanction it. So we are not the doers. There are three doers. Then we go next slide here. This is a very, very, very beautiful and very important verse also of Bhagavad Gita. So we will first recite the verse and then we will go to this beautiful slide. Okay. So I want all of you to recite, but how are we going to recite? I want all of you to recite this 3 times. 1 time, follow me. 2 times, with me. Okay. When I say 1, 2, 3, everybody recite with me. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if everybody understood what I just said. Yes. Very good. It's a very beautiful verse. You all have to recite. How many of you would like to memorize and speak in the class tomorrow? How many of you would like to do it? I want the hands raised up. I'm going to speak 1 time so that you all learn how to recite. And even if you all make mistakes, it's okay. I don't bite. Can all of you send your recording of this verse today? Yes, after memorizing? Yes. How many of you are going to do that? I want to see the hands raised up. Yes. Very good. I see so many hands raised. Beautiful. I look forward to hear all of your recordings of this verse. Okay, so first I'm going to speak. None of you just keep muted. First, here how I'm reciting. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Panditaha Samadarshinaha. Everybody can be unmuted now. Krishna, repeat after me. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne
Brahmane Gavihastini
Shuni Chaiva Shvapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Very good. So we'll repeat, okay? 1, 2, 3. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Pandita Samadarshinaha. Again, 1, 2, 3. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane
Samadarshinaha.
Okay, everybody remain unmuted. I want everybody to be unmuted. What does everybody see in the heart of elephant? What does everybody see in the heart of elephant? Can everybody reply?
Krishna.
What is in the heart of this guy who is actually a dog eater? He's a dog walker. What do you see in his heart?
Krishna.
What do you see in the heart of a devotee?
Krishna.
What do you see in the heart of a cow?
Krishna.
Krishna. What do you see in the heart of a dog?
Krishna.
And the picture is not well showing, but even in the heart of the tree is Krishna. Okay, so everybody can be muted. Everybody can. Very good. You all are amazing. You all are participating so nicely. Nobody's sleeping here. And I'm so proud of all of you. So, in this picture, we saw in everyone's heart is Krishna, right? Let's discuss the words first, then we'll come. Vidya Vinaya Sampanne. Okay, what does this mean? It means the humble sages by virtue of true knowledge. So this is a sage here. You all see here, this is a sage. He has knowledge of scriptures. He has the true knowledge. See with equal vision. Brahmane. Okay, Brahmane means Brahmana. This person is a Brahmana. Okay. Gavi. Now, what do you mean by Gavi? Gavi means cow. Okay, you see beautiful cow here? Like a Nandini, Surabhi. So, Gavi means cow. Hastini. Hastini means elephant. In Sanskrit, elephant is known as Hastini. Shuni. Shuni means in the dog. Okay. Then Shvapake. Shvapake means the one who cooks the dog and eats the dog. Dog eater. You see this guy here? He is a dog eater. Okay. He has a knife in his hand. Okay. A dog eater, like an outcast. Panditaha Samadarshinaha means the humble sage who has true knowledge sees all of these with the equal vision. He sees a learned and gentle Brahmana, elephant, dog, and dog eater. Everybody with the equal vision. He does not differentiate them. He does not look at the dog eater. He says, oh, chi, such a nasty person. Oh, he's a dog eater. He's a lower caste. He's an outcast. Or he's so chandala. He's bad. Or he eats meat. No, he doesn't think like that. Right? Even the dog, he treats him with equal respect. He sees Krishna in his heart. He sees him with equal vision. He sees the cow as the same. He sees the elephant as the same. Because we know, a learned sage knows that they have different bodies, but they are actually the souls. Okay, this is due to their relationship with the Supreme Lord. He sees Supreme Lord in everyone's body. And if we see that elephant also has Krishna, do you think you will take a stick and start beating the dog or elephant? I have seen in India so many kids, sometimes they are so bad that they take the stick and beat the monkey or beat the dog. Who are you hurting? Are you really hurting the dog only? Or you are hurting the Krishna, the Paramatma, the God sitting within also? So every living entity around us has Krishna. Even if an ant crawling in your house, or a lizard, or even a snake, or even a frog, even a cockroach, they all have Krishna in their heart. Krishna is so kind that even if a soul takes birth in a lower species, if I am a human this lifetime and next life, if I become a cockroach, Krishna is so kind that he comes even in the body of cockroach with me in my heart. So this learned Brahmana, he sees everyone with the equal vision. Now, equal vision, that means we should respect everybody. We should love everybody, but within our heart. That does not mean equal vision that you see a tiger and you go hug him. And we say, oh, there is a Krishna in his heart. I need to go and embrace the lion or tiger. Does that mean that? There's a difference. There is a fine line. We treat everyone with the equal vision, but that does not mean that we don't protect ourselves and we don't go and hug a tiger. And trust me, if you do that, that will be last hug of our life, right? Because tiger would love to eat us. He will say the prayers, Mahaprasade Govinde, Nama Brahmani Vaishnave, and then he will start eating us. So don't do that. That does not mean that we don't protect. If we see a snake, that does not mean that, oh, Krishna in his heart, so now we need to go and get the milk from our house and we need to start feeding the snake, or we need to open the door and invite the snake in our house that come and live with us, right? That's in our heart, right? That we know that snake is suffering in this body because of his previous karma, and Krishna is also in their heart. There's no need to hurt the snake if he's not harming us and we need to walk away or inform our parents or take whatever necessary steps, but there's no need to unnecessarily kill anybody. Or we see a little ant in our house and we step on the ant. There is no need to do all that, because even an ant has a right to live the life. But in our heart, we should know that we should treat everyone with equal respect and love, because they all are children of God. They all love God. They all are part and parcel of Supreme Lord. It's just that everybody has different body. Okay. Beautiful. So this verse is a very important. Now, also Bhagavad Gita, this chapter beautifully talks about that a devotee, for him, a learned sadhu, for a devotee, there is no difference between a stone, mud, and the diamonds and gold. He treats everything on the equal plane. So I'll explain you what does this mean. Does everybody want to hear a story, little story? Yeah. How many of you are up for a story? At least I'm up for a story. I want to see the hands raised. Many of you may know this story. I'm not sure how many of you know this story. I see so many hands raised up. So there was a beautiful devotee. He was a very nice devotee of Purandar Das. Now, Purandar Das, actually, in the beginning, he was not a devotee of the Lord. He was a merchant, and he was a very, very greedy merchant. So even if someone comes to his shop, actually, he was a diamond. He had a shop of diamonds. He used to sell jewelries and diamonds. So he was so greedy that even if someone comes to his shop, he would charge even for the water. Like, water is like we offer our hospitality to our guests when they come. So even for that, he would charge them. So one time at his shop, one devotee came, and his name was Krishna Dev Rai. Okay. And he bought some diamonds from Purandar Das. That time Purandar Das was not a devotee, so he charged very high. He was very greedy. And not only that, whatever water he offered him, even for that he charged him. So Purandar Das, over the time, somehow he had a deep realization, and he had a transformation, and he became a devotee of the Lord. When he became a devotee of the Lord, he realized that, what do I do with all this money? Like, all this money actually belongs to Krishna. What do I do with all these diamonds? So he wanted to live a very, very simple life. And what did he do? He took the diamonds, he put a tulsi leaf on the diamonds, and he offered it to Krishna. He said, Krishna, everything belongs to you. So he offered everything to Krishna. And he started living a life of a sadhu, where he would perform his bhajans, and he gave up his house and everything. And he would just beg, and whatever money he gets from begging, or whatever grains he get, he will eat that grain. Whatever money he will get, he will use it in service of Brahmanas and Vaishnavas and feed them food. That's how he started living a life. And meantime, he also accepted his guru. Like, he accepted a guru. His name was Vyasa Tirtha. He became a devotee. He accepted a guru. Now, down the road, over the years, what happened? He did not know. But the Krishna Dev Rai, who went to his shop long time back, he also had the same guru, Vyasa Tirtha. So they both had the same guru. So one day when Krishna Dev Rai, he saw Purandar Das begging and not doing anything, he was confused. He said, well, he's such a greedy merchant. What is he doing here? He must be having a new business. He must be having a new business plan. So he went to his guru and he told him, I doubt, we should go and test this Purandar Das, because he's begging, but I feel it's a new business. He's not a devotee. He's so greedy merchant. How can he become like that? So let's go test him. So what does Krishna Dev Rai do? He goes and he puts some diamonds in the begging bowl of Purandar Das, and Purandar Das doesn't even know. So he does that and he comes back. And then after some time, I mean, next day, Purandar Das goes, not Purandar Das, sorry, Vyasatirtha and Krishna Dev Rai, they both go to his house. Now he was not home, but his wife was home. Now his wife is also a devotee. So Vyasatirtha, the guru, asked the wife that how's everything going, and how are you all, my disciples, my students. So the wife says that no, we all are happy. My husband goes every day, he begs whatever money he gets. With that money, we feed other brahmanas and Vaishnavas, we serve them. But yesterday, one sinful person came and he put some pebbles. Now, she's not saying diamonds. She's saying he put some pebbles in the begging bowl. And what do we do with that pebbles? We just threw them in the courtyard, and we collected all the grains and we just ate ourselves and served the Vaishnavas. So the guru and this Krishna Dev Rai, they were shocked to hear. They said, we gave them diamonds to test, but this guy, this Purandar Das, devotee of the Lord, he doesn't see any difference between diamond and pebbles. I mean, he's a diamond merchant. He knows how diamond look, but for him, it has no value now. Because what is the most valuable for Purandar Das is bhajan of the Lord, chanting the holy name, reading Bhagavad Gita, singing the glories of the Lord. That is what is important. So in this verse, we also talk about Yukta Vairagya. What is Yukta Vairagya? Yukta Vairagya is that accepting everything in this material world, but using it in service of Krishna, not for ourselves. Like here, you see this boy, right? This boy is itchy. Now, when this boy is itchy, he keep itching. What happens when you keep itching? Does itch stops, or when you itch and it keep itching more and more and more? When you itch, the itch goes more and more. So desire for material enjoyment is like that. The more you accumulate the material things, more you will have desire. I want more. I want more. I want more. Right? One can have more of things, but for Krishna, not for himself. If you have a lot of money, give some money to Krishna. If you have a big house, give one room to Krishna and make a temple of Krishna in that room. Right? If you have big bookcase, if you have a lot of sources, use it for Krishna and his devotees. So that's called as Yukta Vairagya. And the last section of this chapter deals with peace formula. Does everybody wants to be peaceful, or everybody wants to be cranky? Give me thumbs down if everybody wants to be peaceful and happy, or those who want to be just cranky, whining around and not happy. Everybody wants to be peaceful, right? Yes? Thumbs up, everybody. Wonderful. So nobody log out, because after this we'll have a activity. Do you all remember yesterday we drew something? So today we're going to paint. Okay. So this is the last section of this chapter, peace formula. What is the peace formula? Let's discuss that. Can everybody be unmuted and repeat after me? Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhardam sarvabhutanam jnatva mam shantimricchati. One more time, all together. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhardam sarvabhutanam jnatva mam shantimricchati. Very good. Everybody can be content now. Everybody can chant. Okay, so let's understand. What does this mean? Very beautiful verse. And This verse is also known as peace formula. If you all get opportunity, please memorize this verse also. Okay, so here, what does this verse mean? Let's discuss. This verse is chapter 5, verse 29. So Bhoktaram, Bhoktaram means what? Bhoktaram means supreme enjoyer. Supreme enjoyer, the beneficiary of everything. Who is the supreme enjoyer? Krishna. We should do everything for Krishna's enjoyment. Bhoktaram yagya tapasam. Whatever yagyas are performed, they should be performed for who? For the pleasure of who? For Krishna. Who is the beneficiary of all the yagyas? Krishna. Even our Sankirtan yagya in this Kali Yuga is for the pleasure of who? For Krishna. Right? We should offer everything for the transcendental service of the Lord. Because second, Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He is the supreme proprietor. Proprietor means he is the owner of everything. He is the proprietor of all the planets and the demigods. No one is greater than him. He is greater than the greatest of all the demigods. So he is the supreme proprietor. And last one, very beautiful. Suhurdam Sarva Bhutanam. We have a boy here sitting in the class. His name is Suhurd. They are brother and sister, Suhurd and Sfurti. So Suhurdam here. Suhurdam means well-wisher. Supreme well-wisher. Sarva Bhutanam means of all living entities. Krishna is well-wisher of everybody. Everybody. Krishna does not want wrong to happen to anybody. But the problem is we have forgotten Krishna. But Krishna is a supreme well-wisher. When we know anything happening in our life, Krishna is taking charge of it. Krishna is our well-wisher. We can close our eyes and trust Krishna that whatever Krishna is doing for us, Krishna will do the best. And that way we'll always be in the peace. The one who knows that Krishna is the supreme enjoyer, he is the proprietor, and he is the well-wisher of all living entities. He attains the peace from the pangs of all material miseries. So that is called as peace formula. For you all, a simple line. You all should remember one line. Krishna loves me. Can everybody be unmuted and say this line to me? Can everybody say, Krishna loves me.
Krishna loves
Krishna is my well-wisher. Very good. You all did amazing. Good job, all of you. So thank you all so much. We finished the chapter 5 here. This was the last verse of chapter 5. Tomorrow we'll discuss chapter 6. That is also a small chapter. Is everybody ready for the activity? Yes? Can everybody run and bring their canvases or papers or art and craft, whatever you made yesterday? And I'll stop sharing here. Give me 1 second. Yes. Also, you can bring paint. If you have bought the colored rhinestones, you can bring it. If you have any glitter, sparkles, or any decorative items, you can do that also. Whatever you all have, you can do. You can come up with your creativity. Okay. We are drawing Giriraj Shila. Do you all know what is a Giriraj Shila? When you go to Vrindavan, you must go and do the parikrama of Govardhan. Govardhan is the huge, very big mountain which Krishna lifted on his pinky finger. So this Giriraj, even a small rock from even a stone from Giriraj has the same quality of Giriraj. So people in ISKCON, they worship on their altar the Giriraj. You know how do they worship? They put the beautiful turban on Giriraj. Giriraj has beautiful eyes. So we are drawing that Giriraj. Okay, and that we don't call is it a rock. We don't call Giriraj a rock. But in order to explain you, I told you all what is a Giriraj. Giriraj is a beautiful Shila. And I will show you some pictures on the Google how Giriraj look like. Okay, give me 1 second. Meantime, everybody bring their things and be ready. Okay. Okay, are we ready? You all can raise your hands if you all are ready. Or do you need more time to grab your materials? If you are drawing on papers and everything, then you can do markers, you can do crayons, and then later on you can draw this on canvas and put it on in your house and write under Giriraj. Okay, because we are drawing Krishna. Krishna is Giriraj. Govardhan is Krishna. Okay, I see Vaishnavi is ready. I see so many kids are ready. Yes, Titikya is ready. Vian is ready. Purav is ready. Aradhita is ready. Aradhita, happy to see you after a long time. I saw you yesterday also. Love you, bacha. How are you? You doing good? Your grandparents are doing okay now? They're getting better? I'm very happy. I'll connect with your mommy later. I see all the kids are almost ready. Okay, are we ready? Okay,